I don't know at the moment what my strategy would be, because I do know the Skellige faction all too well to know all of their weaknesses and strong sides. So I'm actually hunting for this, for the decoy and potentially for another Freya. That's my draw for the moment. My opponent is still drawing cards. It is never really clear whether against Skellige you're going to need a Scourge, but in this case I've decided to save it and see if it may actually turn to be useful. I've got the bear just in case I want to buff myself. Unfortunately, I don't have the Vulkk buff card, but there are other means for me to get buffed. Okay, that's a misclick. Obviously, I don't want to forfeit so soon. My opponent starts with the bear, so I don't need to start with the bear myself. Instead, I'm taking out the self-buffing guy. This Axeman card is actually getting buffs when my other cards after him are getting damaged. And since we have a bear on the field, in this case it's my opponent's bear card, this card is going to damage both my side and his side when a new card unit is being played all the time throughout this round. He's actually playing the same Turser Axeman. And my next move would be to play another basic skirmisher. Why? Because of the buff, and because skirmisher is way more useful after it goes to the graveyard and comes back. I've never been a huge fan of this card that my opponent played, turning into the Shapeshifter, the young bear card. Basically, when the card is played and when damage is applied, it turns into a bear. Yes, the bear is resistant to frost, which is the bane of the melee row. Currently, I'm really debating with myself, what the hell do I want to do? Do I want to spend my leader card so soon in the very first round? Yes, apparently I do. And I'm getting a nice buff for my Axeman. My opponent could scorch it, but then again, scorching 11 points is really kind of a waste of such a powerful card. It seems that he is playing basic card as well, the skirmisher, buffing his Axeman. And here again, I have a small lead, and I'm going second. I do have an opportunity right here to maybe stop and pause, forcing my opponent to get yet another card behind me, if they want to win, of course. But no, apparently instead of that, I'm going to damage myself, buff my Axeman, and really taunt him to use Scourge, which he obviously does. 19 points is a very good amount to remove and scorch away. Right now, 20 versus 11, I'm playing a chasing game and I'm not exactly thinking about winning this round, but instead I'm trying to focus on making or forcing my opponent to spend more and valuable cards if they want to win this one. I've already gotten a slight hint that my opponent is playing basic melee roles with the bear and buffing Axeman, and I'm trying to build my strategy around that. At the same time, I don't really want to run out of unit cards to play, because remember, even though I'm playing against another Skellige, my deck and his deck are both more powerful in the second and potentially the third round of Gwent. Right here, that's 10 points advantage, and I'm already thinking, what could or should I save? It's always risky using decoy on a low value card, such as all the cards that I currently have. But I may never get a chance to, not that one, dumbass, I may never get a chance to decoy another time. You never know what might happen in the second round, so I'm taking a risk and getting back another card, another unit card, just so I would have something to start with. Obviously right here with 13 points advantage, I'm really hoping that my opponent is going to play silly, another card, but unfortunately they won't. We're waiting for the pass. There it is. I'm spending the last remaining seconds here before the clock starts ticking to try and plan ahead some possible movements for the next round, just checking what my cards, what my hand holds, or what my graveyard houses, and just trying to see if I actually have a chance to beat my opponent, because I don't really have a strong hand at this very moment. Check that, I have low value cards, one Freya, one buff card that I'm not really sure if would be useful, because I've already spent my leader card, which is Well, it's a low value to Kraken Crate Warriors, but the leader card means I get 2 cards on the battlefield at the same time, very useful for when I want to buff them with whatever buff I have available. And we can see that my opponent keeps playing the Axeman card for buffs. It's not really wise to play my bear, even though he might have potentially a second bear in his hand, which would be surprising, honestly. But it seems that he did have an Axeman.
Bow before modern friend.
And I need to win this round, remember, so I'm trying to catch up with points, and actually not just catch up, but gain a nice lead. That's 11 points advantage. Okay, that's yet another Axeman, Tursach Axeman, and the strategy from my opponent is perfectly clear right here. He wants to buff them. I'm playing the cow because I hope to win that round, and I'm definitely going to need the cow for the last one. Look at that, he is actually playing a bear. I am predicting his next move is going to be the leader card. And I think I'm making a very smart decision right now to play my bear. Why? I don't have personal benefit from this bear. However, in a moment, this bear is going to buff his 2 Axeman really nicely and make him think that he actually has a very good advantage. And this is exactly when, why, and how I want to use my Scourge. Check this. The Axeman get buffed 3 times 2 points each, and a nice big Scourge card removes 30 with just 1 hit, making the difference 9 points in my favor. And obviously my opponent only has 2 cards and they're passing already. The good news for me is that I have the cow on the battleground and I'm starting with 9 points ahead from the chort or court, I'm not really sure how to read it. Well, in the last round, when Skellige plays against Skellige, it's more or less about luck, I should say. Regis is not exactly that useful in the last round,
But she brooks no
okay,
insult.
but he's a cool card and my favorite character overall from the Witcher universe, so I always have Regis in my decks. My opponent is drawing from the graveyard, and he's drawing again from the graveyard. Yep, another Freya. And he's probably going to spawn the other skirmisher, gaining a small advantage. I think I played very smart with the double bear buff on the Axeman and then scorching them both. So yeah, buffing the highest card actually makes me forfeit. I had that round and I did manage to win it with not so much of luck, but maybe a good draw and wise playing. And yeah, he did fall for my trap. Thank you for enjoying this one with me.